The House will come to order. The pledge this morning will be led by Cameron Piccone, Mountain View High School, and Dominic Piccone, Conrad Ball Middle School, Loveland, Colorado.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J, Becker K, Brown, Buck, he's here, Buckner, Carver, Conti, Corum, Court, Danielson, Del Grosso, Dorr, Duran, Esgar, Everett, Representative Everett,
Representative Everett excused.
Fields, Representative Fields, Foote, Garnett, Janal,
Sure.
Hamner, Humphrey, Joshi, Kagan, Kaiser, Klingenschmidt, Kraft-Tharp, Landgraf,
And
Lawrence,
I think you could hold it, but you could just stand.
Lebsock,
Stand up.
Lee,
So can you hold
Lontine, Lundeen, McCann,
easier if they're reading? And they're, I
Melton, Mitch Bush, Moreno, Navarro, Neville, Nordberg, Pavone, Pedersen, Primavera, Priola, Rankin, Ransom, Rosenthal, Rupe, Ryden, Sane, Salazar, Sias, Singer, Tate.
Craig.
Thurlow.
Okay. Thank you.
Tyler. Van Winkle. Behill. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholz. Winter. Young. Madam Speaker.
Here.
Representative Everett is present.
With 65 present, no absent or excused, a quorum is present. May I have your attention, members? This is Liberty Day, so happy Liberty Day to everybody. And in honor of that event, we have students from Westview Elementary, North Glen, Colorado, and Ridgeview Elementary from Craig, Colorado. And they are going to read for us the Declaration of Independence in its entirety, I believe. So please proceed, and we'll just have you stand up here.
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for the people to dissolve the political bands among the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and a nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To provide this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people. unless those people would relinquish the rights of representation in the legislation, a right inestimable and formidable to them, to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with mainly firmness his invasion on the right of people.
He has refused for a long time after such dissolution to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges depend on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries.
He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses,
for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and unclearing its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and eliminating fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated governments here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of Parisian mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered by only repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by an act of tyrant is unfit to be a ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them time to time of the attempts by their legislators to extend an immoral jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these upbrinds, which would inconveniently interrupt our constitutions and competence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore require us in the necessary which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Thank you, students. Let's give them a round of applause. Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, March 13th be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The ayes have it. Announcements and introductions. Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I again want to just applaud Liberty Day. Liberty Day has been introducing students to American government since 1996. Liberty Day institutes and strives to provide the highest quality resources to help effectively introduce students to the United States Constitution and American government. So please, can we give another warm welcome to the Liberty Day crowd, Andy Day and Jimmy Swartgard. Thank you.
Representative Kraft-Tharp.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm honored today to welcome the Arvada Chamber of Commerce here, joining us in the recognition of the great work that they do for businesses in the Arvada area. I also want to say welcome to CASA of Jefferson and Gilpin County, who are out in the lobby, and if everyone could turn and wave to them so that they know that we see them. Thank you very much.
That's only a $1 fine, Representative Kraft-Tharp. Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to remind everyone that we have our Claw Caucus meeting on Thursday this week. That will be in LSBA on Thursday at noon. There will be lunch provided for legislators. We hope you can come. We're going to hear about rabbits and cats and other animals that frequent our communities. So it should be a very interesting meeting, and I look forward to seeing you there on Thursday. Thanks.
Very much. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, today we're going to have the Aerospace and Defense Caucus lunch that had been rescheduled because of the big snowstorm we had. And Representative Nordberg.
Representative Norberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Please join us today in room, what is it, 0107? 0107 for lunch and conversation about aerospace and defense in Colorado. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, members.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, today is Colorado Black Women for Political Action Day at the Capitol. We have members of CBWPA here. And I want you to know that CBWPA was founded in 1977, and it is the brainchild of former Senator Gloria Tanner. Senator Tanner, along with 13 other women, wanted to encourage African American participation in the political process and as a political advocate for the African American community. So members, will you please join me in welcoming the members of Colorado Black Women for Political Action? They're in the galley.
Yes. A $2 fine, Representative Williams. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I found that when I make this announcement, I only have to say 2 words and I have your attention. Hot dogs. They're coming Thursday. The Sportsman's Caucus will be meeting at high noon in room 112. And I know that the Claw Caucus is going to be talking about CAT, Cats Around Town. We talk about things like sin, which is not S-I-N, but C-I-N, cats in nature like mountain lions, bobcats, and lynx. So feel free to come at high noon, downstairs, room 112, hot dogs. That's Thursday.
Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, today is the Colorado Youth Advisory Council's Day at the Capitol. COYAC is a group of 40 students from across the state who come together 4 times a year to research important policy issues affecting youth in Colorado. They will be here presenting their policy recommendations at 12 o'clock in Senate Room 356, and lunch will be provided. We hope to see you there. And COYAC members, if you could stand up, and members, please join me in welcoming them to the Capitol.
$2 fine, Representative Pedersen. $2. Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know we have a lot of wonderful Liberty Day kids in the room today, but I always like to call out the ones who come all the way from Craig, Colorado. We got 10 kids in the back and their sponsors, so just acknowledge such a long drive and sacrifice to be with us. Thank you. And by the way, Representative Mitch Bush, one of them is from Steamboat.
Since they're students. Representative Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's back. No, this was not destroyed during the interim. The Green Jacket is back. It will be awarded tomorrow. The selection has been made. So dress appropriately so you may be matching with this lovely green jacket, which has been passed down year after year, member to member. I think I wore it twice. I forgot a jacket once, and Representative Peniston had to borrow it a couple times because she didn't have a jacket. So it does actually come in handy. I just want you to be prepared. Be excited about this for St. Patrick's Day.
So are there any major assignments that you're requiring of members in order to get this wonderful?
No, I was not as creative as the former giver of this. So I just put everybody's name in a hat. Sorry. We drew one out. We are working on a poem for the presentation tomorrow, but I'm sure that it will be greatly appreciated by the recipient.
Very good. Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, we have birthdays in the House today, so I need to call up the Capitol Choir. Last year on this day, we had 3 birthdays. We only have 2 today, so please join me in wishing a happy birthday to Representative Landgraf and me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Landgraf and Henry. Happy birthday to you.
You did good. All right. Representative Melton and Representative Fields.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
we are pleased to announce that the Class 5A state champion is the Overland High School.
Trailblazers. They are here in the building somewhere. I don't think they're in here quite yet. But since they won the boys 5A basketball tournament, we wanted to make sure that we recognized them. Representative Fields and I are always fighting over who actually represents Overland. It's in my district, but a lot of people live in her district. And so we're both proud of the boys team for putting up a great effort and winning the state basketball championship. Please give them a round, even though they are not here yet.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I guess it's my turn to brag just a little bit. The Pagosa Springs girls were the 3A basketball champions in Colorado. Let's give them a big hand. Undefeated.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to dovetail off of Representative Kraft Tharp's announcement, is not only Jeffco CASAs that are here today, but many of the CASAs from around the state. These are the court-appointed special advocates that have been proven to keep kids out of foster care an average of 7.5 months more than kids without a CASA. CASA means home in Spanish, and they truly get kids home faster. So extend my thanks to them, but also come visit your CASAs. They're out in the lobby today.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And again, let's all remember that Ag Day is Wednesday. There will be 14 different chefs downstairs, and they will be cooking their specialty. And so plan on being down there and just seeing what agriculture produces here in Colorado.
Are there further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1240.
House Bill 1240 by Representative Fields, also Senator Balmer, concerning reducing referrals of public school students to law enforcement agencies.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1240 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1240 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 34 ayes, 31 noes, and no excused, House Bill 1240 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1214.
House Bill 1214 by Representative Singer, also Senator Cook, concerning opioid analgesics with abuse-deterrent properties.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over House Bill 1214 until April 20th, also known as for.
The motion is to lay over House Bill 1214 until April, whatever. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I withdraw that motion. Instead, I move for the passage of House Bill 1214 on third reading and final passage, just making sure everybody's paying attention this morning.
Okay, the first motion was withdrawn, I think, and the motion before us now is for the passage of House Bill 1214 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 43 ayes, 22 noes, and 0 excused, House Bill 1214 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 19.
Senate Bill 19 by Senators Sonnenberg and John, also Representative Nordberg, concerning the authority of the state auditor to conduct a performance audit of the Colorado Health Benefit Exchange.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 19 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 19 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Buck and close the machine with 64 ayes, 1 no, and 0 excused. Senate Bill 19 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1245.
House Bill 1245 by Representative Vigil, also Senator Sonnenberg, concerning authority of the State Board of Land Commissioners to use a specified portion of the Investment and Development Fund monies for asset maintenance.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1245 on third reading and final passage.
The question is the passage of House Bill 1245 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 54 ayes, 11 noes, and 0 excused, House Bill 1245 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1256.
House Bill 1256 by Representative Mitch Bush, also Senator Baumgartner, concerning the reclassification of Routt County to a Category 2 county for the purpose of establishing the salaries of county officers.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1256 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1256 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, 2 noes, and 0 excused, House Bill 1256 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1262.
House Bill 1262 by Representative Rosenthal, Senator Balmer, concerning separate legal entities established by contract between 2 or more political subdivisions of the state in connection with clarifying legal status and scope of powers of such an entity.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1262 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Kaiser. Representative Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members under Rule 21C, I ask to be excused.
You are excused, Representative Kaiser, under the rules. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 56 ayes, 9 noes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1262 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. The next order of business is second reading, general orders. Representative Hamner. You have heard the motion. If there are no objections, Representative Hamner will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there's a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon the motion of the majority leader. The coat rule is relaxed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1007 until April 1st.
At the request of the Majority Leader and seeing no opposition, House Bill 1007 will be laid over as requested. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1222.
House Bill 1222, Representative Becker K., concerning authorization of pilot projects for voluntary transfer of water efficiency savings to the Colorado Water Conservation Board for in-stream use purposes and water divisions that include lands west of the Continental Divide.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1222 and the Agricultural Natural Resources Committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Ag and Natural Resources Committee adopted 2 amendments, L001 and L002, to address several concerns raised through the Colorado Water Congress process, clarifying, making sure that when we refer to injury, we refer to it the same way. Also to deal with the issue of what happens if the pilot project is discontinued. And both of those amendments passed without objection.
Is there further discussion on the Agricultural Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Agricultural Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The Agricultural Committee report is adopted. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1222 builds off of a bill that was passed last year but vetoed over several months. Many stakeholders worked together to come up with a pilot program bill that is narrowed in terms of scope, location, and duration. The pilot allows for the selection of 12 pilot projects on the western slope to be considered for ag efficiency improvements, to allow efficiency savings from those improvements to be acquired for in-stream flow use during the term of the pilot program. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there discussion on House Bill 1222? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we did hear this, this bill in committee and spent a lot of time with it. I know there are a lot of us that have some questions. If you have some questions, you might talk to Representative Vigil. But this bill allows the right of non-consumptive water in the rivers. There's a lot of questions about how this bill will affect water rights of legitimate water rights owners and agriculture. It is the son of 23, which was last year's bill that the governor vetoed. And, you know, we heard in committee that, you know, this bill encourages lining of ditches, and that will dry up wetlands and dry up trees. There will be dead trees along these ditches. It does put the water back in the rivers. But I don't know that giving up those wetlands and encouraging that kind of thing is what we need to do. So I would encourage a no vote on this bill.
Representative Becker. Jay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I don't disagree that Representative Casey Becker has worked hard to get this bill to this point, and I know that the bill last year was vetoed and it's turned into a study in this bill. But members, House Bill 1222 has some very dangerous precedents setting in it. First of all, this bill states that you can create a water right from an efficiency. That's not true. The water right, the actual water right, is the consumptive use, which doesn't change in the state of Colorado. So you cannot create a water right from so-called efficiencies. No matter how efficient those practices get, you cannot create a water right from it, and let alone make that water right senior. This bill goes against Colorado water law at this point by saying that you can create that water right from efficiencies. Those efficiencies, or so-called efficiencies, are either tailwater or return flows, as we spoke about before in this chamber. The second thing on this bill that you would look at is, in Colorado law, the applicant has the burden of proof. The burden of proof to prove that they are not first injuring anybody in the ditch. This bill states that they don't, and that any injured party has to come forward, which again turns water law on its ear in the state of Colorado. Third, that person that's coming forward, the applicant, has to prove the consumptive use. The consumptive use. What we're saying in this bill is that from the efficiencies, because you lined a ditch or are using a different system, can create a water right. That cannot happen. That is a dangerous precedent to be setting, because the water right is still the consumptive use, which did not change because your efficiencies of getting water to the crops have improved. So, members, I would ask you to not support this bill. This sets a dangerous precedent in the state of Colorado, and I'd ask for your no vote.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Which Becker to support? I rise in support of this bill. Last year, I opposed Senate Bill 23 at the advice of the Colorado River District. This year, I rise in support of a bill that's the follow-on to it, again, in support of the Colorado River District. And believe me, this bill's gone through a lot of iterations. This concept has gone through a lot of iterations. And it's all true. Everything that Representative Becker said might go wrong. Everything that's wrong with this bill is absolutely true. However, what this bill does is put safeguards around that. It's a pilot program. It's limited only to the west, Representative Jay Becker. So my district is more affected than any other, and you know, the board of that district comes together. Believe me, these are longtime water guys, ag guys, but they're also in-stream flow guys. And we in the West need to balance in-stream flows with other uses. It's true that there are a lot of things about this bill that could be dangerous. However, what this is a pilot program to test those concepts. It prevents other things from happening that could be worse for a period of 10, 12 years. You can see, this really came about, by the way, this Senate Bill 23 started up last year, pretty much based on the Crystal River. You can see the Crystal River Valley from my back porch. I tried to fish there, but the little fishes die in the summertime. So don't we care about the fish? Don't we care about in-stream flow? We've got to find some solutions to balancing these issues. This bill does that. So I urge your support and support of Kay Becker on this bill.
Representative Becker Jay.
Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Rankin, for actually proving the point. The in-stream flows are already decided, but in order to do that, you cannot take somebody else's water right and call that in-stream flows. You can also not call that new right that you are so-called making a senior right, which will affect junior rights in the ditch by the end of it. This is a dangerous precedent. I am shocked that the governor is even behind this, but the reason, Representative Rankin stated that this was for the western slope. It is, but once we set this precedent, it will soon make it to all parts of Colorado as we go. I don't want to see that. Water law, and even if those of you that were in Ag Committee the other day and heard Justice Hobbs speak, Justice Hobbs even said you cannot create a new water right from efficiencies. That's exactly what this bill does. We cannot do that and then tell the objectors that they do not have their day in court, and tell the person that is applying for this that they don't have to prove anything. This is a dangerous precedent to set. I would still ask for your no vote.
Representative Corum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we heard this bill in committee. We also heard Justice Hobbs talk about this and his concerns. Let me tell you my concerns. In our area, which is the Western Slope, that water is used 7 times. So we've had some of these efficiency projects. So what we're looking at now are hundreds of miles of laterals where the giant cottonwoods, these Rio Grande cottonwoods that are the size of this, are dead. We've destroyed the wetlands because of the efficiencies. We've also caused a lot of other problems. And I'm not going to go on and repeat what Representative Becker had to say. But what the most thing concerns me about this is it's a pilot, but it's a 25-year pilot. Now, I did a little calculating the other day. The odds are not very good that I'm going to be alive to see the end of this pilot. That concerns me. That's way too long. 25 years, you know, if you had something like 10, might make it a little more palatable, but in the end, I'm still a no vote.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What it actually is a 10-year pilot. And if at the end of the 10-year pilot, all injury concerns have been resolved, then the CWCB can make a decision to extend the pilot. So it really is a 10-year pilot. Now, the issue that we, Western Colorado and Colorado Water District, have with this bill is that it's going to keep coming back every year. It's going to keep coming back in some form. This issue is not going to go away because, you know, there's always going to be a conflict between irrigating and other uses and in-stream flow. So the reason we like this bill is because it does have safeguards around it. It is limited to a small number of projects, and it has recourse for injury. So we think this is the best way to attack the very sensitive and delicate balance that needs to be resolved.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with most of my Republican colleagues on this. This does create a new water right, which will be immediately challenged in court. And I appreciate Becker Kay's hard work on this issue, but making something a pilot for the wrong reasons is still the wrong reason. Even though this is not an actual law and it's a study, it's still for the wrong reasons. So I would urge a no vote on this bill because, again, for the same reason I voted against this bill last year, you still entered a specter of government. And anytime you give anything to the government, including a water right, they generally don't want to give it back. So it introduces that specter again, so I'll also be a no vote on that.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1222? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1222. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. House Bill 1222 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1251.
House Bill 1251 by Representatives Court and Wilson concerning adjustment of the total employer contribution rate of the Denver Public Schools Division of the Public Employees Retirement Association in connection with the equalization status of the Association's Denver Public Schools Division with the Association's School Division as required by the manager of the Denver Public Schools Retirement System with the Association.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Kohler. We don't see Representative Wilson coming up there. Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bill, thank you very much. I move 1251 and ask for an aye vote.
Yes.
1251 is required by a bill that we did 5 years ago to true up the DPS school division contribution in para with the other school divisions. So it is simply to true up DPS to make it match the other school divisions. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Representative Court said, House Bill 1251 is a follow-up to Senate Bill 09282. That bill, the Senate bill, actually merged the DPS retirement system into PERA, which allowed for mobility between the two groups of educators. And it required a true-up calculation in 5 years. That's why we are here. I would point out that this particular bill passed House Finance 11-0, the home of the 3-year sunset, and we passed it 11-0. What does this bill do? The calculation is to determine whether the DPS employer contribution rate must be adjusted to assure the equalization of the DPS division's ratio of unfunded actuarial accrued liability over payroll to the PERA school division's ration of unfunded actuarial accrued liability over payroll at the end of the 30-year period that began on January 1, 2010. What did I just say? I'm glad you asked that question. Simply stated, this process is a safeguard to see if the DPS-PERA merger has worked to date, what adjustments need to be made to ensure that it will continue to work into the future. Perhaps just as important to this discussion, this bill is not a venue to launch into a PERA unfunded liability discussion. The state treasurer supports this bill, and everyone knows where he stands on that issue. It's also supported by Denver Area School Superintendent Council and the Colorado Association of School Executives Legislative Committee. I would urge an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1251?
No, there's none. There's none.
It looks to me like Mr. Minority Leader Del Grosso would like to say something.
Oh, yes, he did. Now, members, I just wanted to point out, when they're listening to the testimony, and PERA actually had put out a report that said they're actually neutral on the bill. But they're neutral, but then they come back out and put a memo that says they are actually opposed to their own actuarial. They're the ones that actually put the actuarial out, and yet then they come and testify that they're against their own numbers. But as Representative Wilson has stated, this should not turn into a debate over the funded status and all of that. But I just wanted to point out to you guys, when PERA puts out numbers and then comes and testifies that the numbers that they actually put out they don't agree with, something doesn't smell right. And so, as Representative Wilson has stated, we'll have that conversation later and not in this bill. But I just wanted to point that out, that PERA has publicly stated they don't agree with their own message and their own numbers. Thank you.
Representative Lundin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. We find ourselves in an interesting situation here. This is intended to be a narrow bill, but it kind of makes me think of the canary in the mine shaft. Back in the days before miners had sensors to tell them what was going on with the air quality, they would rely on a canary in a cage. And of course, the canary's lungs was much more sensitive than their lungs. And if the canary started to choke or wheeze or die, the miners knew that they had a challenge before their very life. I understand we're going to have a very robust debate on the question of PERA next year, and so I will reserve comment and questions for next year and aggressive interaction to the broader issue. But I would raise the question, is perhaps this bill a bright yellow canary in our mine shaft called PERA?
Representative Becker J.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I think that it's been brought pretty well, the questions that we have with this bill. But we all know where PERA sits. And just because we're looking at that and DPS is paying more than the other school districts or districts alike, why at this time, when PERA and DPS division is still underfunded, would we reduce that funding at this point in time? Wouldn't we just keep that funding going forward to get them to the destination of 103% to make sure that we can get that stable and therefore reduce the liability also to the state of Colorado taxpayers? I would ask you to vote no on this bill.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, colleagues, for pointing out some of the issues that we'll be facing in the future. But today we face the issue of this particular bill. There are a couple of things that I want to point out to you. One is that there's only two options available for equity amongst the two divisions that we're talking about here between PERA and DPS. One of those is to increase the school division rate, or the other is to lower the current DPS rate. The school division rate All the other school districts in the state of Colorado, the other 177 school districts, are strapped already paying their share of that PERA. So that's not a viable option. The second thing I'd like to point out is why we're having this discussion. There was a 5-year sunset on that bill, and the reason why we're discussing it today is that that bill happened to have run its course, so we're discussing it today. Please, colleagues, remember, the passage of this bill does not mean that you have to wait 5 years to have these discussions. You have the option of having that discussion every year if you so desire and make those adjustments. The bill allows for that. I would urge you to watch that carefully to see how it works. But today, the passage of this bill means it will bring a little bit of equity between those two divisions, and I would urge an aye vote.
Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tweety Bird aside, please vote yes.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1251. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1251 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1212.
House Bill 1212 by Representative Becker Kay, all Senators Kerr and Merrifield, concerning making permanent the State Board of Land Commissioners' authority to sell state trust land to local governments.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1212. There is no committee report.
Then to the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill simply extends the time for which an existing statute can be used, and that statute allows the State Land Board, who owns state lands in trust for our schools, to be able to sell when those lands are not producing value to local governments. The bill initially passed 5 years ago and was sunsetted. It allows 2 sales per year to local governments and has been used a few times for the expansion of a local water treatment plant and an expansion of an airport. So this bill simply allows that to continue. I ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1212. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Wow, I could barely hear anybody, but House Bill 1212 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 103.
Senate Bill 103 by Senator Lundberg, also Representative Becker Kay, concerning continuation of the Compliance Advisory Panel in connection with implementing the recommendations of the Department of Regulatory Agencies as contained in the 2014 Sunset Report.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 103. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 103 is a sunset bill for the Compliance Advisory Panel. Compliance advisory panels were set up across the nation after the 1990 Clean Air Act amendments to help small business comply with the Clean Air Act. This particular advisory panel costs no money to the state. It's made up of business representatives who give feedback to Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment about how they can work with business better. And this bill continues the program, clarifies that it's an advisory group, and sunsets it in another 11 years. I ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't know if it's just me or if we've had Becker Kay in the well now 3 times this morning with 3 separate bills. I thought there was a House rule against this, and so if there's not, I propose a new rule. No, I'm just kidding. I support this bill, whatever it does.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Seeing no other real conversation, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 103. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Senate Bill 103 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1097 until March 18th.
Seeing no discussion, the Majority Leader's motion will be adopted, and House Bill 1097 will be laid over as requested. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1131.
House Bill 1131 by Representatives Asgar and Lee, also Senator Lambert, concerning the release of information related to critical incidents that occurred in facilities operated by the Division of Youth Corrections.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1131, Critical Incidents, and the Judiciary and Appropriation Committee reports.
Thank you, Representative Lee. I do not see an Appropriations Committee report.
Scratch the Appropriations report.
Is there?
Oh, there is. Wait, sorry.
Hold on just a second, please.
Yeah, we went.
Sorry. We had that experience.
You didn't dream it?
Thank you, Representative Lee. The calendar apparently has a little error. There is an Appropriations Committee report, so to the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We vividly remember appearing before the Appropriations Committee. They unanimously passed a appropriations clause for $14,119 for personnel, $285 for additional services, and 0.3 FTE. I ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee report.
Is there further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report to House Bill 1131. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Judiciary Committee report, Representative Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Judiciary Committee report adopted a strike below and added 4 amendments to the bill. The strike below requires the Division of Youth Corrections to disclose certain critical incident information. It defines critical incidents, allows the redacting of confidential information and security information, allows the Department of Youth Corrections to correct inaccurate information reported in the news media. In addition, the committee report adopted 4 amendments to better define critical incidents, to allow the department to charge a reasonable fee, to refer to a new section in the code, and to make disclosure requirements effective retroactive to January 1st, 2015. I ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Is there further discussion on the Judiciary Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Judiciary Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. The Judiciary Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill is simply about safety and transparency when we're talking about our Division of Youth Corrections. So I want to make sure that you all understand that this is a bill that we worked hard on with the department to be sure the department agrees with it, and that we are keeping our kids safe, our workers safe, and that we have access to any indiscrepancies when it comes to critical incidences. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1131? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1131. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. House Bill 1131 passes.
Very good. Well done.
Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1136.
House Bill 1136 by Representative Navarro, also Senator Woods, concerning the number of disabled veteran license plates with the identifying figure authorizing the use of parking privileges that may be issued to a qualified individual.
Representative Navarro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1136 and the committee reference report from Appropriations.
To the Appropriations Committee report.
The appropriations is $7,880 is appropriated to the Department of Revenue for the use of divisions for motor vehicles. The appropriations consist of $2,866 from the general fund and $5,014 for the license plate cash fund.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report passes. Representative Navarro, to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a great veterans bill, and I appreciate your support.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1136. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1136 passes. Mr. Kohler, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1147 until March 18th.
Seeing no discussion, the Madam Majority Leader's motion will be adopted, and House Bill, the bill will be laid over, 1147 will be laid over upon the request of the Majority Leader. Okay, got through that. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1157.
House Bill 1157 by Representatives Willett and Pabon, all Senators Heath and Merrifield, concerning the creation of an economic development working group for highly distressed regions of the state in order to develop legislation to improve the economic vitality of those regions in connection with making an appropriation.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1157 and the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We passed the Appropriations Committee unanimously. There's an appropriation for some additional staff for OEdit to look at this, and for costs of State House people traveling to meetings.
Is there further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report passes.
We haven't even been to that committee.
Excuse me, Representatives, we also have a report from the Business Committee to the Business Committee report.
Thank you, Madam
Representative
Chair.
Willett.
And I also move the Business Committee report and ask for an aye vote on it.
Is there further discussion on the Business Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The Business Committee report passes. Okay, we are to the bill, House Bill 1157.
Well, not our bill numbers.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow members, this is a bill that's a bipartisan bill, as you can see, that Representative Pabon and I are working on together, have worked on together, and it calls for a study of economic tools to be used in the most distressed areas, both urban and rural. So this is a statewide effort, rural, urban. We're going to take a lot of effort to determine what areas are the most distressed. Having worked on 1177 in that regard, I can tell you it's very difficult to gather reliable economic data to determine those areas in both urban and particularly urban and rural areas. Second of all, to study what tools should be used, including very complex matters of tax-free zones. I have a stack this high on tax-free zones, and it is not easy stuff. So this is a task force, a study group, a working group that is indeed needed. We're going to have 2 representatives on the committee, 2 senators on the committee, and an OEdit member will be the voting members. I won't bore you with more detail. I would ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it is an honor to serve in the chamber with you, Madam Chair, and with my friend Representative Willett to co-sponsor House Bill 1157. This is taking a look, as Representative Willett suggested, at both areas that are rural,
Hey, Danny, it's Corey.
like Grand Junction, like Ignacio, like many areas in this state that are distressed and need help. But it's also taking a look at places like Sun Valley. Sun Valley is a neighborhood in my district. And it's not only the poorest neighborhood in my district, not only the poorest neighborhood in the city of Denver, but the poorest neighborhood in the state of Colorado. And when you think about places like Sun Valley and Grand Junction and places like Elyria and Globeville and Swansea and Representative, the Majority Leader's district, these places are not experiencing the same economic recovery that the rest of our state is. And we need specialized tools in the toolbox to make sure that we're doing what's right by them, because all of Colorado deserves the best. All of Colorado deserves recovery, and this is a way to do that. So this is not a partisan issue. This is not a regional issue. This is a Colorado issue. Ask for an aye vote.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm totally in favor of this bill. I think it's a great bill. I just have some questions, though. We do have in the state an Office of Economic Development, right? And I wonder why we need this bill if we have an Office of Economic Development, and what what they do? And maybe you can answer those questions. And also, does the Office of Economic Development ask about the effect on the economy in these rural areas and these distressed areas of higher taxes and more regulation? It seems like that these ought to be are issues that affect these distressed areas, and I'm just wondering if the Office of Economic Development checks into these kind of things.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Brown. We had a little discussion about this in committee, and OEDIT was there, including the new director of OEDIT, and the question came up, is this duplicative or is this parallel? OEDIT was in favor of this bill, and I think the fact of the matter is, as I learned about tax-free zones, there's really very little guidance on our economists at the staff of Legislative Council. There's very little follow-through with organizations like DOLA and OEDIT. So I think it's important that we have legislative control, or at least major input into some of these studies, rather than simply turning over money to these executive branches or other regulatory agencies. This will allow 4 members, 2 from the Senate, 2 from the House, to look carefully at these issues, make sure the economic factors are accurate, make sure people are doing their homework, make sure the money's going to the right areas, make sure that the tools used are the correct tools and not a waste of our money. So it is a cooperative process. OEDIT's more than willing to work with us and endorses the bill. Thank you for the questions. As far as how much they look at tax impact, that's something I guess we can also look at in terms of what tools are the best tools, but I can't answer how much they look at that on their own on an individual basis.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I strongly in support of this bill. I've had extensive conversations lately with our new Director of Economic Development, and you know, I'm assured that because the Front Range is doing so well, I mean, just really booming. I mean, there are construction cranes everywhere. We got a great high rate of new business coming, that we can afford to turn our focus to shared prosperity across the state. You know, I mean, we ought to be looking at a virtual Colorado with internet and jobs everywhere, so that our small towns, our heritage, that maintain our heritage, can prosper. We need to give our new director over there every tool we can, and we need to be doing everything we can as a legislature now that we've achieved Boomtown on the east, that this prosperity is shared. This is part of that, and it's a good bill. Vote for it.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1157? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1157. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1157 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1215 until March 18th.
House Bill 1215 will be laid over upon the request of the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1224.
House Bill 1224 by Representative Mitch Bush, House Senators Hill and Todd, concerning accounting for state monies received by public post-secondary institutions that do not participate in the College Opportunity Fund program.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1224. There are no committee reports, Madam Chair.
Then to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill fixes some accounting issues for both Ames Community College and Colorado Mountain College. They are the only 2 local district colleges in Colorado, so they're funded very differently than the other community colleges in the community college system. Part of what this bill does is provides a separate line item for each of them, and part of what this bill does is remove some red tape that occurred when Colorado Mountain College was seeking 4-year degrees. They now have 4-year degrees, and so they no longer should be required to keep 2 separate sets of books, one for 2-year, one for 4-year. This bill passed unanimously out of the House Education Committee and unanimously out of Appropriations. I would urge an aye vote on this bill. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1224. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1224 passes.
Should I have him read this at length?
No, you should not.
Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 191.
Senate Bill 191 by Senators Sheffield and Carroll, also Representatives Durand and Del Grosso, concerning payment of expenses of the Legislative Department.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I move Senate Bill 191, the Legislative Appropriations Bill, and urge an aye vote.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I have to say our Assistant Majority Leader is much more handsome, no offense, than Minority Leader Del Grosso.
Oh, yes, she did.
This is Senate Bill 191. This is just a legislative budget. We ask for your support.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 191? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 191. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Senate Bill 191 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1246.
House Bill 1246 by Representatives Lee and Pabon, also Senators Sheffield and Hill, concerning the authorization and crowdfunding of intrastate securities.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1246. There is no committee report.
Then to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, this is one of the most exciting bills of the session. It authorizes crowdfunding in Colorado. It empowers Colorado companies to raise money through selling stock on the stock market so that they can expand, buy equipment, hire employees, and continue Colorado's economic recovery. It really marries the efficiency of the internet with capital formation. Under this bill, individual investors who are residents in Colorado can buy $5,000 worth of stock in Colorado companies so long as 80% of the proceeds are spent in Colorado. The company can raise, an accredited investor can have no limitation on how much that they can invest in the company. A company can offer $1 million worth of stock to Colorado residents. If they have audited financial statements, it can go up to $2 million. The bill has consumer protections in it, specifically the involvement of the Securities Commissioner, who worked with us on this bill and is in support of the bill. There are disclosure requirements to consumers. There are record-keeping requirements, escrow requirements, exclusions of bad actors, and securities professionals, broker dealers are involved and subject to all of their financial requirements. I would move.
Representative Lee, we have moved the bill. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the Colorado Crowdfunding Act, members, is an act that allows entrepreneurs in any corner of the state of Colorado. This is not bound by district or area. This is anywhere in the state of Colorado can take their ideas, whether it's at a dining room table or a garage, and put them to work through the Colorado Crowdfunding Act. This is building small business, good ideas at its best. And this is a bill that has broad bipartisan support, as Representative Lee mentioned. We have folks from the business community, from the Bar Association, from the clean tech, the entrepreneur, and everywhere in between supporting this bill, because this is a good bill for the people of Colorado. We ask for your support for this bill because, as we know, the growth of small business is better for all of the economy, no matter what part of the state you live in. Is better for all of our entrepreneurs, all of our workforce, and all those people who seek new ways of doing things in our state. So we ask this on behalf of the people of Colorado, on behalf of the people in your districts, on behalf of the entrepreneurs, and of course, the people who have the good ideas, a yes for this bill.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1246. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. House Bill 1246 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1142.
House Bill 1142 by Representative McCann, all Senator Guzman, concerning the conduct of foreclosure sales by a public trustee in connection with authorizing the conduct of foreclosure sales through the internet and other electronic media and authorizing the collection of fees by electronic transfer.
Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1142 as well as the committee report from the Committee on Finance. And I think I have one, sorry, also the Committee on Business Affairs and Labor.
Thank you, Representative McCann. To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Finance Committee, we adopted an amendment that was suggested by the real estate section of the Bar Association to allow for a maximum bid to be submitted at the same time an initial bid is submitted for a foreclosure sale. So I would ask for an aye vote on the committee report from Finance.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The Finance Committee report passes. To the report from the Business Affairs and Labor Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Business Committee, we just clarified where we moved one section to a different section, technical amendment, and also allowed for the participation during the sale electronically. We added a little phrase about that, so it was, again, sort of a technical amendment. So I would ask for an aye vote on the committee report of Business Affairs and Labor.
Seeing no discussion, the question before us is the passage of the committee report from Business Affairs and Labor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee report passes. Representative McCann, to the bill.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The bill is volunteer. It allows for a public trustee to conduct a foreclosure sale electronically. It's completely voluntary. It is not mandatory, but it does allow for the use of electronic means. We hope this will result in more competitive bidding and higher prices being paid for foreclosed homes, which will result in more money going to the person being foreclosed upon. So I would ask for an aye vote. It came out of committee unanimously in both committees, so ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1142? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1142. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1142 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 97.
Senate Bill 97 by Senator Aguilar, also Representative Landgraf, concerning the eligibility of Supplemental Needs Trust to receive certain public employees' retirement association benefits.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 97 and ask for a yes vote.
Is there any discussion on Senate Bill 97? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 97. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Senate Bill 97 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1073.
House Bill 1073, Representative Salazar, concerning allowing a driver to challenge the validity of a law enforcement officer's initial contact with the driver.
Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1073 and the committee report from Judiciary.
To the Judiciary Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just really quickly, the report amended the bill to include instructions as to what happens when a driver challenges the validity of the law enforcement officer's initial contact, and also removed the retroactivity. And I ask for a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The committee report passes. Representative Salazar, to the bill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bill that we voted on 2 years ago. It's a cleanup. It passed out of the House unanimously, passed out of the Senate unanimously, and I ask for your support.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1073? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1073. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1073 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 30.
Senate Bill 30 by Senator Carroll, also Representative Foote, concerning removing culpability for prostitution for a victim of human trafficking.
Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 30, and there is no committee report.
to the bill then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 30 is a bill that addresses human trafficking members. We've talked a lot about human trafficking and in Judiciary Committee as well as on the floor. And this bill is one step that we can do to help victims of human trafficking get out and move on with their lives. It does three things. It creates an affirmative defense for prostitution offenses, that if a victim says they're a victim of human trafficking, they can assert that defense at trial on a prostitution charge. It also allows them to seal their record under certain circumstances, and also allows them to seal their name if they are asserting the affirmative defense. So this is a good bill to help these victims move on, and I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 30? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 30. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Senate Bill 30 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You've heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs to reports on consideration of following attached bills being second reading. The government makes following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1073, amended 1131, amended 1136, amended 1242, amended 1157, amended 1212, 1222, amended 1224, 1246, 1251. Passed on second reading in order gross, placed on counter for third and final passage. Senate Bills 30, 97, 103, and 191. Passed on second reading in order revised, placed on counter for third and final passage. House Bills 1097, 1147, 1215, laid over until March 18th, retaining their place on the calendar. House Bill 1007, laid over until April 1st, retaining its place on the calendar.
That must be it. Representative Hamner. You have heard the motion, and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 65 ayes and no noes, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Oh, good. Now you're all quiet and you're paying attention, of course. Remember last week I mentioned to you that we are changing from the clickers to fobs to get into the parking circle. So on Monday, a week from today, your gate clicker will no longer work. Hang on. I wanted to get your attention. Hang on. This week on Thursday and Friday, so if you're going to be absent on either Thursday or Friday, you better have somebody take care of this for you. The sergeants will issue each of you a new fob, you know, a little thingamajiggy that hangs on your key ring like the thing for keyless entry on your cars. The sergeants will collect the old clickers for recycling. The new fobs will have a number to be assigned for your use only. So just be aware that Thursday, Friday, we're giving back our clickers. They'll give us the fob, and by a week from today, if you haven't gotten this taken care of, you won't be able to get in. So please pay attention. If you have questions, our sergeants are available to discuss it with you. Thank you.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Agriculture Committee, we have 3 bills this afternoon in the SJR, I'm sorry. SJR 4004, House Bill 1259, and Senate Bill 8 and Senate Bill 121. See you at 1:30 at room 107.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, March 17th.
The motion is to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow. Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over according to the Speaker's or the Majority Leader's request. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until 1 p.m. later today.
The motion is to stand in recess until 1 p.m. today. Seeing no objection, we will be in recess till 1 p.m.